Welcome to another episode of The Offering. And boy, do we all just need to take a breath. Take a big breath. So, 6-5 loss in overtime tonight for the Sabres. Wild game. Up 3-1, down 4, or was it up 3-1, down 4-3. They come back, make it 5-4, and then it's 5-5, and then the Penguins win in overtime after a late empty net goal. Just so much to get to within this game that I do want to dive into a little bit because there are a few things that are certainly, I believe, worthy of discussing and talking about, and things need to be corrected, and some positives as well. And we'll get into all of that. But really, how I want to start things out is, if you're flicking this on looking for anger or negativity, or I don't know, maybe you'll hear some frustration and some things, a little bit of that you'll get, but just overall, like fire breathing like that, like you came in the wrong spot. We're not there yet. We need to just relax for a moment. Like, we are game 5. We are 6% of the season been played so far, and I understand. Like, I know, the angst to make the playoffs, and you could lose it earlier in the season if you don't pick up these points. Completely get it. Completely understand all of that, and that is all valid. But this is what I the last few years I put this out there. You need to pace yourself on a game to game roller coaster basis. It's gonna drive you nuts. And we've seen that. We've had 2 bad games, we've had 2 good games, and now we kind of have a meh in the middle game. It's up, down, like, just it's gonna be wild. The way this team is built, the way this team is, there's gonna be some peaks and valleys, and it's how they're going to maintain it. Is there gonna be more peaks than valleys? Is it gonna be a lot of last year of middling? What is it gonna be? And there's time. We're gonna figure that out. But just I again stress. Just take a deep breath. Let's not live or die here on every single game, because a lot of these games really, like, if they're different parts of the season, we're not talking about as big as a deal as it is, because we're 5 games into the season. You only have 1 win. I know you got a point out of this game tonight, so you're at 3 points now. Um, so yeah, I mean, I totally get all that, and you have the angst of wanting to see things go and get going here. So here's the thing from an overall perspective. So let's start high level, and then let's work our way down here. Um, I think that we can comfortably say that those first 2 games in Prague are not the team that we've seen, or not the team that we're going to get. A lot of those issues that we saw in Prague, most of the issues have not carried over to these 3 games in North America. So that's good. That's encouraging. There's still some issues, which we're going to get to in a second, that did carry over. But for the most part, the scoring has come alive. They're generating offense. Until tonight, their defense was pretty decent. And you're having some of your main guys, Tage, Tuck, Paterka, that are going well. Power and Byram are going pretty well until tonight. That didn't go well for them. Darlene's been up and down. Your new additions, McLeod, Greenway, they've been really good. Zucker, I think, has been fine. And, you've had that, and then you've had your other excuse me, got a cough in there. You've had some other issues in different parts of your game, which we're going to break down here shortly. But I think on the overall point, which is going to be wild to say on a night where they lost and could have came away with 2 points, there's still encouragement here for me. I think we're seeing the build from the Kings game to the Panthers game to this one, where some of the things in their game it's continuing. It's good. It's positives. But this is where we get into the inconsistencies part of it, right? So flipping over to, let's go to their defense, because that tonight, any way you slice it, just wasn't simply good enough in any regard. But in all 4 games prior to that, it was pretty good. It was improved. They were one of the lowest expected goals against teams in the league. I think they were 11th going into tonight. I want to say it on the top of my head. But so that was a good sign. Tonight, it wasn't. You ran up against a team that has generated offense through the first few games, and they got chances on you. Your goalie did make some saves, and we'll get to Luukkonen in a minute here. But also, there's maybe a goal or two that you would want back or want to stop on, which is understandable, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I think that's something that we have to see them work out a little bit. There has to be more consistency. And you're always going to have games, right? You're looking at games pop up that either you didn't generate any offense or you gave up a lot of chances. Over an 82 game season, that's going to happen. But what you want to do is for the majority of your time, be a team that consistently can generate offense at 5-on-5, be a team that consistently reduce chances, and be a team that can be effective on special teams, which holy hell, that is not what's happening right now. And we're definitely going to get to that. But from a 5-on-5 perspective, I mean, I don't have any complaints right now. 5-on-5, this team for 3 games in a row has arguably been the better team. Tonight, first period they were, second period maybe not, and third period, bad first half, good second half, and maybe you call it a break-even game. But they definitely weren't the worst team. They weren't bad at evens and 5-on-5. So that's good. That's where the majority of the game is played, and that's what you want to see, and that's what you want to see continue, and for them to do that. And they're going to have an opportunity against Columbus, and they're going to have an opportunity to do that against Chicago. I said yesterday that I need to come up with a 6. I need them to come away with 6 of 8. They got 1. So now they need to get 5 of 6 of 8. Got to the man here. 5 of the next 6. So that's where we're at, and that's what you blow it into a bigger picture. You don't live on that small moment game to game life. You try to break it into a little bit bigger chunks and then evaluate it in that regard, and then also you step back and look at the whole as the season gets bigger and you get more data and more input. Usually the way that we should go about things. Back to the team itself. So that's the high level thing. So let's start to get it even deeper here and really get into some issues, I think, with individual players before we get to the special teams part of it. And the player that I think we have to talk about right off the top here in terms of the most concern you have between guys is Dylan Cozens and Jack Quinn. It has not worked for a single game. I've talked about the team in general has looked good for the better part of 3 games here. Those two have not put together, I think, one period maybe of solid play. It's been bad. And we'll start with Cozens here. I don't know where to go really with him. I don't know what happened. I thought coming into this year would be a reset with a new coach and you put a bad year behind you. It's just not happening. It's a lot of the same mistakes. It's a lot of the same errors. It's not strong on the puck. And it's turnovers and just not getting to pucks, not getting to recoveries, not creating offense. A lot of issues. And I don't really know what the proper solution is. Look, I know a lot of people are saying that maybe moving him to the wing is the right idea. And I can even see that. I can make an argument for that. And I can see that being a possibility and potential. Something maybe they do end up doing. But that's not going to fix all the problems that he's having. There's things beyond just moving him to the wing. It's not going to be an instant fix. And also, like doing that, then it disrupts the rest of your team. You got to move McLeod up when they have something going, or you got to push Krebs up or something, and Lafferty's got to go back to center. It creates a whole, downflow of issues, if you will. So what I want to do first, I think, is exhaust all opportunities at the center position before I make that move to wing, and then I go from there. I think the most obvious solution, really, I mean, for both of them, Quinn and Cozens, is probably to try to put Peterka back there. We saw Benson do well with Tuck and Tage on that top line when Peterka was out. Maybe you put him back there. You drop Peterka down, who was just really going right now. And maybe all along, Peterka was the one that was stirring the drink on that line. I thought maybe it was Quinn, and then Peterka did his thing last year, but maybe they just missed Paterka, and he was really the guy that kind of got those other two going. And making that quick swap doesn't disrupt what we have on your third line. It allows your fourth line to stay and play the game that they're playing, which is just basically go out there and muck it around for a few minutes and don't give up chances, play a low event game, which is really what they've done. I mean, their XG numbers look kind of silly when they're like 10% or something like that, but really it's like it's low event hockey where literally nothing is happening and they're just out there to hit a few people, throw a few bucks to the net, and kind of generate some energy. That's their role. It's really not as bad as it looks in some of the numbers when you look from an overall, macro standpoint. Getting back to Cozens and Quinn, I just think that that's the next thing I'm going to try before I try to rip Cozens to the wing. Shifting to Quinn, I'm just straight confused what's going on there. He just looks like he's skating in mud. There's no speed, there's no acceleration, I don't know if it's a confidence issue. I have no idea. I could sit here and say, well, the Achilles injury, maybe that's playing a factor, but his skating wasn't this poor last year when he came back. He had that jump, he had that acceleration, he had that quick in and out. That was all there in his game. It's not there. I I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe an injury we don't know about, but he hasn't missed practice, he hasn't missed games. Like there's been no talk of that, so I can't think it's that. It's confusing. And maybe it's just confidence, but like if your confidence being shaken affects the way you perform that much, where you just don't have anything. Anytime he gets the puck now, I am nervous legitimately that it is going to be a turnover. There were numerous times in this game where I just wanted to put out a tweet it's one thing if you're not going to produce offensively when we expect you to do that, you're not going to generate offense. That in itself isn't great. But I also can't have you being soft in the neutral zone and turning the puck over. I can't have you soft on the wall in the defensive zone, not getting the puck out or losing battles offensively. It can't be everything. And for Quinn and Cozens, it's all of it. Every bit of it. Maybe Cozens is one redeeming factor is he has been decent penalty killing. Well, that is really all I'll give him. And it's a problem. It's a big problem for them. I under the contract and the commitment and all of that. Yeah. But this doesn't work if you don't fix the two of them. For God's sakes, you got to at least fix one of them. If both of them are going to be a mess, you're in trouble. It ruins your entire second line, your depth, and what you were banking on being a more proficient team from line to line to line to line down your lineup. Because really, you have that besides your second line now. You have a good third line. You have a fourth line that's doing what they're asked. Your first line is doing what it's asked to. But your second line has been so poor every single night that it is killing them. 2 goals tonight alone are the responsibility of Quinn and Cozens. Cozens destroying a goal against with the soft play on the wall. And Quinn, I believe, was the next one. Just a terrible offensive zone turnover, and it comes back the other way and ends up in your net. Just inexcusable. And that was like his 4th poor turnover in the entire game before that. It's not good enough. And maybe you sit one of them down in Columbus. Maybe it's Quinn. And you get Kulik back in there, which we're going to get to with the power play here in a minute. And you give him a night to reset, watch the game, whatever. Send a message. I don't know. I just think something needs to be done there. It can't just be rolled out the same. I'm legitimately surprised that Ruff didn't make any changes to his lines during the game. He just kept going with it. And I get it. Paterka was going with that top line, so maybe you don't want to adjust that. But and he got the goal, then McLeod scored, and probably maybe he was thinking about making a change. They got big jump back up in front in 40 seconds, and that mitigated all of that thought. So we don't really know how it would have played out if they would have stayed behind the majority of that third period. But yeah, I mean that's probably for me issues 2 and 3 on this team. Issue number 1, that this team cannot go anywhere in any regard if their special teams is not fixed. Just won't happen. It's going to be the same exact season as last year. I mean, this is a team that was +4 at 5-on-5, even strength, and they were a -5 on the power play, shorthanded, power play, penalty kill, and pulling in 6-on-5. 5 of the goals came in those scenarios. Just it's not good enough. Their power play is through 5 games, doesn't have any goals. They are a negative right now. They are a net negative in goal differential on the power play. That's insane. You know that was an issue coming in. You brought in you promoted Appert to come help fix that. Lindy Ruff is here with a new system, hopefully, and it's a lot of the same stuff. Maybe the entries are a little bit better, but when they get in the zone, it doesn't work. There's no anything. There's no plan. You're firing pucks around all over the place. It's rushed. And teams have realized that, so teams are aggressively attacking the Sabres players as soon as they get the puck because they know that they're jittery with it. And that is going to continue to happen until they figure out a way to do something against it. Every team of them has done that so far. They have attacked the puck carrier as soon as they get in and force quick passes because they just haven't had an answer for it. They don't have play set up. They throw pucks around and it's jittery and bounces. Either it gets cleared or they fire a puck into someone's shin pads or they fire it into the goalie's chest and that's the end of it. And they lose a draw and down the ice it goes. So that needs to be corrected. In getting the Kulik, I think that's the reason you need to get him back in the lineup tomorrow. The last 2 games, he was your best power play player. And at 20 years old, if he at least just doesn't crush you 5-on-5, if he just breaks even for you, but he is a big factor on the power play that can help you there right now, he needs to play every night. That power play is so bad that you find a way to get Kulik in your lineup and don't let him kill you at 5-on-5, which, by the way, he didn't in the games that he's played. He hasn't done that. But get him in your lineup so he can help you with your power play. Because there's an argument that he might be their best power play guy right now that we've seen so far this season. He's got to play. You need him in there to help you. He's the one who was the most calm with the puck. He just looked comfortable when he was out there in that situation. And where you are now, I don't think you're in a spot to say the 20-year-old just can't get in the lineup. Sit Peyton Krebs, move Lafferty to center, and make that work. I get it. Like, Kulik probably isn't the best fit to play with Lafferty and Malenstein. Okay, like, I don't know what to tell you, though. Like, you got to do something. You got to get him in somehow. And if that's what it takes and that line doesn't play a ton, then so be it. I don't know. You have to figure out a way to make that work. And I think you got to see if he gives your power play juice, because for 2 games it looked like that he did. So you have to ride and play that out, because the special teams, and it's the penalty kill too. You're giving up too many goals on the power play. I mean, they look good at times. They create, some offensive rushes on times, but the puck is ending up in your net too much in the penalty kill so far. And maybe that cleans up overall. Just some bad luck. I mean, tonight the one power play goal hits Rust in the chest, and then it drops, and he hits it in, and Melkin makes a nice play on the one where he's on his back and he shoots it in, and then you have the power play goal in overtime, and the majority of the time that's end up in a goal anyways. So maybe it's not as bad as it seems, but overall, so I think there needs to be some work done there, and it has to be corrected. Now, the last thing I want to get to, because I've seen a lot of it today or tonight, is the goaltending. So, look, here's where I'll come down on it. Tonight wasn't the greatest night from Luukkonen. What I would say is, for me, I either want one of 2 things tonight. I want you to not let O'Connor score on you. I'm not sure I had a chance. Just make a save there for me. Or I need you to squeeze that puck at the end of the game. It can't go through you. Squeeze it. It doesn't get through you. You get a whistle. You get a draw. It's late, and maybe you end up winning that game. I get it. Melkin shot it. It's a hard shot. Understandable. But I'm looking at you now like a top-tier goaltender, because that's what I need you to be, and that's where you were last year. So in that scenario, I need you to make a play for me. I need you to squeeze your arm. I need you to not let that go through you. And don't get me wrong, he made some good saves. That the one on the power play where I forgot who it was that he robbed with the glove save, and he made some other nice ones. He made saves. And I don't think tonight, the reason they lost tonight is not because of Luukkonen. I think let's just get that out there too. It's not. It wasn't his best night, and it's early in the season. I will say I think he looked calmer in the crease. He wasn't really all over the place. So that was an encouraging sign, unlike the few games before that where he was a little bit, just on edge. I think tonight was more maybe of a rebound issue. We seen some things are bouncing off of him, and then we saw the one, like I said, the tying goal squeeze through him. You got to clean that up. That could be early season rust. We'll let it go. But no, I'm not concerned about Luukkonen at this point. I think the goalie rotation they're going through is fine. Getting guys in is perfectly fine. Levi is going to play in Columbus tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. Now, what I will say for Luukkonen, and we don't know if God, this COVID cough, it just comes out of nowhere. Still like 2 weeks later. What I will say with Ruff, again, we don't know if he's the same as it used to be, but if there's a goaltender that's going, he's going to start to go with that one. So if Levi puts together a good performance in Columbus, I do wonder if he gets the Chicago game. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. Then if he plays well in Chicago, I wonder if it starts to snowball and we start to see Levi more than Luukkonen. Again, way too early. I'm not blaming Luukkonen for anything, but I do think that's something that he himself has to watch out for. Ruff is not afraid to go with the goaltender that's performing better. He's done it in the past. He doesn't care about salaries. He doesn't care about how much money he makes or what the organization paid or committed to anybody. That's just what he does. So, I guess a note to Luukkonen that maybe he's got to clean a few things up. So he can keep in that rotation. And I do think, though, like for at least the next month, we're going to see the rotation continue. They're both probably going to get an even amount of games. And then maybe when we get to November, we start to see one play more than the other one. But we'll see how it goes along. But, I mean, like I started saying at the beginning of this, like defensively, they weren't good enough. And that's not Luukkonen's fault. There was a lot of high-quality chances. The XG numbers at the end of the night, I think they're up over 4 total overall for Pittsburgh. That's asking a lot of your goaltender to play that well. Again, it doesn't mean to give up 5 goals or 6 goals, sorry. But it wasn't a good game defensively. And, when your goaltender's not 100% on and you have a good game defensively, 6 pucks end up in your net. That's the way she goes. So you got a point tonight. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Pittsburgh hasn't been a great place for them to go in and play, so you get your point. Now you go to Columbus. Playing on the back-to-back is tough. I understand. It only is the 6th game of the season, though. You've been off since Saturday, so you really shouldn't be that tired. You should be able to go in there and play a team that doesn't have a great roster and get 2 points out of that, and then reset and go into Chicago again against another team that's not a great roster and pick up some points there for you as well. So this road trip, there is still a chance for you to walk out of there, with 5 points out of this trip. There's really nothing, 5 or 6 points even out of this trip. There's really, well, you can't pick up 6 more. You pick up 5. You win your next 2 and pick up 5 points out of this trip, and then go about it and be on your way. So just because my math was way off. I just think there was only 8 points. Only 6 games, 2, 4, 6. I really cannot math. So I really should reset myself where I should have decided to come out of this with 4 out of 6. That was more likely thinking about it than what I said yesterday. I know that 5 out of 8 always sounded weird to me. So let's reset this fully here. They're on a 3-game road trip, 6 possible points. They got 1. They can still come out of here with 5 points. I'll take 4. But you win your next 2, and then you get this point, and all of a sudden 5 out of 6 on a 3-game road trip looks pretty nice for you. So there is still opportunity. There is still time to really set yourself up here to keep heading in the right direction after a slow start. Not the best of nights. Really, it's a frustrating one. I get it. It can be deflating when you were so close to just maybe ripping 2 points out from underneath Pittsburgh, which is a team you're probably going to be chasing for a wild card spot. So it stinks to give them 2 points, but you got one yourself, and we'll, I guess, worry about that down the road. But tomorrow's big. I think you got to get 2 tomorrow. You lose again tomorrow, and you're, it could be pretty rough around here. So we'll see. Again, there's a lot of encouragement in the negativity. Hope this team rebounds tomorrow, and then they can head into Chicago feeling good about themselves and, end in a good road trip. 5 out of 6 on this trip is well done in the grand scheme of things. So enjoy the next few games. We will talk again soon. Sorry for those of you maybe who are looking for a little bit more energy on the being frustrated side. Just we're not there yet. Let's just take a chill pill. Let's get through October, maybe the middle of November. I told somebody who asked when panic time was, who messaged me today, that Veterans Day. So let's like get to the middle of November before we really start freaking out. But yeah, let's hope for a better day tomorrow. That's for sure. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon. See ya.